All right, got some good music going now. How's it going, everyone? I am excited, nervous, confused. We're going to do some math today, and we're going to be doing something new. New for me, new for you, but I'm hoping that you found this by clicking on the worksheet that you have, and we're going to go through it together. So, let's stick around and let's math it up. Okay, was that a good intro? I don't know. Did that work? So, my name is George Pierce. You can find me on Twitter at gpiercewsd. That's Winnipeg School Division. That's my Twitter handle. And today we're going to go through our math worksheet. I'm going to try and do this often, as much as I can. I'm going to go through the sections of the worksheet, and then I'm going to timestamp it for each question. So like if you only want to watch question number 16, because that one's tricky, then you can just jump to that timestamp. If you don't need any help, watch the video anyway, because then it'll help my viewer algorithm, right? I don't know. Let's get started. I'm going to jump over and change my cam here. And I think I'm going to turn off my cat cam because I don't have any cats in my cat house. They're just up over here. And let's start by going through the worksheet. So as you know, this is a worksheet on decimal and place value, and there's a few different chunks of the worksheet here. So the start, we have our write the place value of each underlined number. So you're going to be writing the word, spelling the place value of the underlined number. Write each number in words. Write each as a numeral. So you're going to change the written words into a number. And then you're just going to be doing some adding and subtracting. So we'll start with the sum. And when you're finding the sum, that means you're doing addition. And when you're finding the difference, that means subtraction. Of course, the answers are all on the bottom, but as a math teacher, you have to show your work. If you walk in and just drop just the answers without any shown work, I'm not going to give you full marks for that. So I'm assuming your teacher wouldn't either. So let's start going through this. So I'm going to turn off my face cam and just give you the worksheet, and we're going to zoom in. So of course, this is the finding the place value of each underlined number. This is the tens place value, right? The decimal would be right here, followed by zeros. Those zeros can go on infinitely. It doesn't change the value of that number. Question number 1, tens. Simple as that. Question 2. Question 2, we see our decimal right here. And we are going to know that the underlined number is one number to the right of that decimal. And it goes tenths. This is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. But of course, our underlined number is number 3, which is in the tenths place value. So we're going to write tenths, tenths. Ooh, okay, so much larger number in the hundreds of thousands. But the number that's underlined is decimal here. 1, 2, 3 moves over. So it is in our hundredth place value. Hundreds. Question number 4 already. Oh, this one doesn't have a decimal. It does, but it's not there. There's no need to have it because there's no value following it. So, of course, the number is 630, and the place value that's underlined is the hundreds. Sorry if my writing is a little messy. It's on a iPad with a stylus. Or it's just that my writing is messy and I should just apologize all profusely. Again, question number 5, there's no decimal. These commas are in there as a visual breakup for that number. There's actually no, sometimes they just use spaces instead of the commas, but this particular way is using commas. And our number is, if this was our decimal, our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So 100,000s. That's the place value that this number is. 100,000s. Okay, so we're going to go question number 6. Now this number, it looks like a really big number, but it's actually just a really big place value. There's lots of decimals being represented here. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 place values, but the one that's underlined is in the third space. So interesting. 1, 2, 3 spaces behind the decimal. So we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we'll write that. This is the thousandths. So these last two here, thousands, thousands, and thousandths, right? Very similar thousandths, similar looking words, but of course, very different meaning with this TH at the end here. Let's go into 6A. Now we have a decimal point would be there at the very end. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces moving up. So this place value would be ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. 10,000s. The last one for this section here. So we have, there's our decimal. So that first thing you want to do is find that decimal space, decimal place, and then you want to move from there and just count up. Tens. Sorry, I'm going to start over and do that correctly. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, thousands. Okay, so that's the first section completed. The next section, it says, write each numeral in words. So what they mean by that is take this number here, 120.4, and write that out. And yeah, I know it's kind of a spelling test, but it's fairly important to be able to spell words and represent them numerically as well. So let's go through that. 100 20 120 and 4/10. So I'm just going to move my screen here. 120 and 4/10. All right. See how this and, sometimes when you're saying things, you might say like 120.4, but to write it out properly, they want you to write and 4/10, which is easy in that one, and it's a little bit more difficult with this number because this is a bigger number and just has more digits in it. So get ready. The number is 8,109 and 803 thousandths. That's how you would say this number. I know. It's a lot. But we're going to get through it. We're going to do it. So we're going to go 8,000 109 and I'm going to go on the line below this, 800 I wrote the number 3 thousandths. Whew. I made some writing errors there. So the thousandths doesn't come out until the very end. Like it's not 800ths 3,000. Like it's 803 because you have 803 thousandths. Yeah. Interesting. Something to pay attention to. So write each as a numeral. This is the same type of question, but working backwards through it, which is actually easier. So let's read this and do this one here. So it's 5,023 and 63 hundredths. Okay. 5,023 decimal point and 63 hundredths. 63 hundredths. That's it. You could write a 0, but it doesn't change anything, and I wouldn't write a 0. Question number 10. 101/34. I'm having trouble reading. 134 thousandths. 100. And then you hear the and, because that says that's a decimal point. So let's write that. 100 and 134 thousandths. 134 thousandths. There it is. That's it. Okay, find each sum. Now, this is the part that's might be a little bit more confusing to some of us who are new to this, but it's pretty straightforward. So let's start by just sort of assessing some of the numbers that we're working with. We have 6.9 and 6.4. So 6 plus 6 is going to be 12. So we can we'll know the answer is going to be pretty close to 12. So if you're doing stuff like this, it's sometimes helpful to do an estimate, just so you catch yourself. And if you end up with 27, you're like, that's nowhere near where I should be. So it'll help you make some silly mistakes. It'll help prevent making some silly mistakes. Something we're going to do to show our work is we're going to be stacking our numbers. So we're going to take these two numbers, 6.9 and 6.4, and we're going to stack them. We're going to put them in vertical alignment, and it's really important that you are aligning up the decimal points. That's the whole trick to adding and subtracting decimal numbers. So we're just going to do it. So let's go, and we'll start with the 6.9, and we'll put it on top, and we'll go 6.4, and we'll put it on the bottom, and we'll add our addition sign. This is the key right here. This lining up our decimal points. That if you don't do that properly, it's not going to work out well. You always want to line up those decimal points. So let's start by adding 9 and 4, which is going to be 13. We'll drop down the 3, carry the 1, and 6 and 6 is going to be 12, plus 1 more will be 13. So I'm going to put the decimal point there because we just drop the decimal point in. Drop it down. We could do it before even, just knowing that it's going to be there. But as long as it's there, you can't forget that 13.3 and 133 very different numbers. It's always nice when you're doing these type of problems, showing your work. It's actually more than always nice. I think it's really important. Circling or squaring your answer. So let's make sure we're doing a habit of that. Making a habit of doing that. All right, so this next question, question number 12, jumps up the difficulty quite a little bit here, because now there are 3 place values in this number. But worry not, it won't be a huge issue. So we're just going to, again, write down I'm just going to jump to my different cam here. We're going to write down the numbers and put them in a vertical arrangement. And I'm going to actually take this number and put it on top, because I think visually that might be a little nicer for me. So I'm going to go 7.813, and underneath I'm going to write 3.2. So important. Check the numbers. 3.2, 3.2, 7113, 7813. My numbers are correct. I got them. Oh. Sorry. My screen went to sleep here. Want to make sure they're in correct order and they are copied correctly. And then once they're there, we can start adding them up. So we can just write a 0 as placeholders. That doesn't change the number, just helps you with alignment of your question. And we can add these together. 3 and 0 is going to be 3. 3 and 1, or 0 and 1 will be 1. 8 and 2 will be 10. Let's drop down our decimal at this point, and then let's add up our total, 11.013. Square my answer to show that that's my answer. Let's go to the next one. Now I have 3 numbers. Oh no, it's so difficult. We just have to stick to the same routine. We will write them vertically, and we will line up our decimals. So let's go 6.5, 10.7, 11.2. Add them together. Make sure they're correct again. Yeah, so that looks good. 5 and 7 is going to be 12. 5 and 7 will be 12. Plus 2 more is 14. We're going to put the 4 down there. Carry the 1. Drop down my decimal. Now I have 1, 6, 0, and 1. So 1 and 6 is 7, plus 1 more. 8, 1, 1 is 2, 28.4. Circle my answer. Move on to my next question. Okay, once again, we have a little bit of a difficult question because one of those numbers has a lot more place values, but that's okay because we'll just use zeros as placeholders when we're showing our work. So let's write it on top. We'll go 9.618, and we'll go 6.7 and 3.7, and we can add zeros as placeholders, and we'll just drop those numbers down. Okay, so we can drop down the 8. Just gonna write that a little nicer. Drop down the 8, we can drop down the 1, and then we have 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 7 more is going to be 20. Write our 0, carry our 2, write our decimal point. 2 and 9 is 11, plus 6 is 17, plus 3 is going to be 20. 20.018. Square our answer. Move on to the next question. Okay. Next question. 4 numbers. Unreal. 5.8, 3.9, 5.3, 2.5, addition sign. Really important. You are lining those numbers up. You gotta line them up in an orderly fashion. I have all of my decimals lined up. And I said this earlier, you don't have to do it. It doesn't really matter when you do it, but you know that decimal is going to be there. It has to be exactly lined up. So 8 plus 9 is going to be 17, plus 3 is 20, plus 5 is 25. I'm going to put my 5, carry my 2. I'm going to add my tens, my ones column up. 7, 10, 15, 17. 17. I'm going to square my answer. And I'm going to move on to 14b. For 14b, I'm going to have 10.638, 10.77, 7.4, and 10. Now, lots of different types of decimal points in here. When you are doing these types of questions, remember you want to make sure that you add a decimal point throughout, and you want to also make sure that you're lining everything up. And to do that, it's nice to use the placeholders of 0. 0 represents nothing, but it visually fills spaces. And we're going to go through and do that here. So I'll add 1 0, 2 zeros, and 3 zeros. It's important to keep your math relatively neat. My math is not perfect, but it's neat enough to help me show it and represent the numerals visually. So let's go from right to left and add up our numbers. 8. Ooh, okay, so this is going to be 10. Carry the 1. 7, 7 is 14, plus 4 more is 18. Write the 8, carry the 1. 11, 21, 28, 38. Square our answer. The next ones are subtraction. So subtraction is going to use the exact same strategy. You're going to use the exact same strategy. You're going to line them up visually, but then you're just going to subtract to find the difference rather than to add them together. You guys have been using addition and subtraction for a long time. Let's practice going through these strategies. And there are 6 questions. We're 6 questions away from being done. Feeling pretty good right now. Okay. The first one, 11.5 minus 8.6, 7.86, sorry. All right, so you're gonna have to do some borrowing in this one. So we're going to go 11.5 subtract 7.86. So this is always interesting to do. It's one of those things where you want to fill in that space because you're going to be borrowing from that space. Okay, so let's start by borrowing from our 5. And our 5 is going to become 4, and we're going to give that 1 to make it 10. So our new section here is going to say, here, it's going to say 10 minus 6 instead of 0 minus 6. So this is going to be 4. The next row, you cannot take away 8 from 4. It just doesn't work. So once again, we're going to borrow from the neighbor. That'll become 0. That'll become 14. So now we have 14 take away 8. And 14 take away 8 is going to be 6. We're going to plop that down there. And up here we have 10 minus 7, which is going to be 3. Oof. Borrowing. Let's go to our next one. Again, some borrowing involved. It's almost like it was designed like that. So let's line it up vertically. 9.2 minus 6.4. This will become 8. And that will become 12. Let's go 8. Let's write our decimal point. And let's go 8 minus 6 is going to be 2. 2.8. At the end here, we're going to go through the questions and sort of check them. And if I get something wrong, I will laugh. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do this in stages, right? Stage number 1. Let's go. 8.3 minus 5.888. Let's get this one out of the way early. Just because. Wait. You could subtract twice, or you could add 2 numbers together and then subtract. Subtract twice. I think that's what they want us to practice right now. Double borrowing. All right, this is some heavy stuff. So we're going to move down the road here. We can't borrow. We can't subtract 8 from 0. We can't borrow from 0. So we have to go borrow from here, making this 2, making that 10. Then we're going to borrow from the 10, making it 9, and make that 10, and then 10 minus 8 is going to be 2. 8 minus 9 will be 1. We cannot do this one because we can't take 8 from 2, so we'll have to borrow here to make this 7 and that 12. 8 from 12 will be 4. There's our decimal point. 7 from 5 is 2. Or sorry, 5 from 7 is 2. So now we're left with this next chunk here. It's this is our, we've done this already. And it's left us with this number down here. So the next step is taking this number and putting it up and going 2.412 minus 1.6. Zero, zero. We'll have a 2 there. We'll have a 1 there. We can't take 6 from 2. Can't do that. Sorry, 6 from 4. Can't take 6 from 4. So we're going to borrow, making that a 1, and making this 14. 8. 1 take away 1 is 0. So our final answer, 0.812, or 812 thousandths will be our answer. Okay. Another long one here. So 10.8 minus 2 point... Uh-oh. What's happening here? I'm not lining up my decimals. 2.26. Okay. Let's go. All right. Let's think about this shortcut here. Thought time. 0 minus 6. You can't do that. You can't have 0 and take away 6. And borrowing is all fun. It's amazing tool to use. Sometimes it's kind of nice if you can do something like this. 80 take away 26. It kind of saves some borrowing. It's not always the best route, but sometimes it makes sense. So 80 take away 6 is going to be 74. 74 take away 20 is going to be 54. And then we're left with 10 take away 2, which is 8. 8. And we're left with 8.54. Now, let's try to draw, right? 8.54 up here. 8.54. And we're going to subtract 5.44. Finally, we don't have to borrow. Oh, wonderful. 0, 1, decimal place, and 3. Final answer. 3 1/10. Amazing. Okay, so for these ones, I'm going to write underneath, just because of space constraints here. Start 7.45 minus 1.1. Oh, that's a nice one. 5, 3, 6. So we have, bring this one up, 6.35 minus 2.8. I added my 0 in there because we're going to need that. 2.8. Drop down 5. That'll become a 5, and that's a 13. So we'll have 5. I had to think about that one. 5, and then that'll be 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then we have 3. Move that up there. I'll have 3.55 minus 3.55 minus 1.7. 1.70. Let's drop the 5 down, make that 2, 15. 15 take away 7 is going to be 8. Decimal point 1. Answer is going to be 1.85. Whew. You still with me? This is it. This is it. Huge moment here. Oh, and this first one is so easy. Okay. Let's step by step. Gotta write it vertically. 8.8 minus 0.1. Tough one. It's gonna leave us with 7. Drop down our decimal place. 8.7. And we're gonna come up. We're gonna go 8.7 minus 6.99. We're gonna need to do some borrowing here. Let's borrow to make that 6. Drop a 1 in there. That'll make that 1. Can't take away 9 from 6, so we're gonna have to borrow to make that 7. And that'll be 16. Leaving 7 there. Drop our decimal down. 1.71. Let's drive that up there. 1.71. Our last 1.40. We won't need to borrow. Yes. That's going to be 1. That's going to be 3. That's going to be decimal. That's going to be 0. Square. Our answer. We did it. Amazing. And we can check our answers here. Did I get any answers wrong? I don't know. I don't think so. I was careful. I looked at all my work. Whew. Well, that was a lot of fun. That was a long video. 43 minutes. I'll timestamp it, don't worry. If you were with us this long, doubt there's any teachers watching anymore. Not that it really matters. We have a gaming channel, GB Gaming. Come check us out on YouTube. We do live streams. We do gaming stuff. You gotta like and subscribe and join that channel. We have an Instagram, and that Instagram is Gordon Bell Gaming. It's a growing community. And we also have a super active Discord called Let's Game Den. It's a play on words because we're the Panthers, but you'll figure that out if you subscribe to us. I hope you have a fantastic end to your day, start to your day, whatever time of day it is. Remember to math it up.